Welcome into the Nickel City Crew. I am your host, Rob Crippen. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Nickel City Crew. This episode, along with all of our episodes, are presented by Crippen Legacy Entertainment here on Spreaker. We're so glad that you're choosing us for some of your Buffalo Bills and NFL content again today. And as always, these are my Bills thoughts said out loud. All right, let's get straight to it. Appreciate everybody joining into the crew once again. Really excited about the future of Nickel City Crew. Shout out again to Jay Spence the King. I really want to start calling him Jay Spence the Connector, to be honest. I know he posted on Twitter yesterday how he's starting to feel that this is his purpose of connecting people. And I fully embrace him accepting that because he really has been that for me in my life for sure. He got me in contact with, obviously, General and obviously Buffalo fan base. And I really feel excited about the future of that platform. And I'm really indebted to Jay Spence the King. I'm really indebted to the fact that he was able to take a chance on me, listen to my work, enjoyed it enough to forward me over to people that could help me when he was in a situation that he couldn't get me over to Buffalo Rumblings, So in that same vein, this is a Buffalo Bills podcast, Nickel City Crew. However, sports and real life sometimes will intersect. I'm never going to hide from it. Sometimes real life will intersect, and I will never hide from it. Being what you would call and refer to as a quote-unquote black man in America, as a man first, I won't hide from it. And it's something that I actually take pride in. I told you guys in my last episode, I live in the space of uncomfortable conversations. I live in that space daily. So it's all good for me. Anybody that's looking to help, to get back to the Bills, which we will in a moment, anybody that's willing and looking to help, Rooted in Love Incorporated, rootedinlove.com, rootedinloveinc.com, rootedinloveinc.com. Check out Tasha Parker, Jay Spence the King or the Connector, once again coming through, linking us up. Shout out to her organization. You can check her out on Twitter at Mind of Tasha. Miss Parker is running Rooted in Love, and what she is doing is she's bringing food to the community there on Jefferson Avenue. She's bringing food and services and donations to the families. It's something that's important. As the crew goes forward and as we continue to start here with our introduction here on Buffalo Fan Base and being a part of the Bills Mafia Podcast Network, I refuse to stand down. We will have on more guests. We will address the topics. And we're going to try to find a way to not be experts in explaining what the problem is, but finding out ways to be the solution, finding out ways to advance our cause. And our cause is for equality. Our cause is for everyone to be treated the same way, truly. So please go check out Miss Tasha Parker, Mind of Tasha. You can check her out at Mind of Tasha on Twitter. And again, her organization, rootedinloveinc.com. Please check out the website. I really would appreciate it because a lot of families that really need it right now in your community, Western New York, will be affected in a positive way after obviously we've gone through so much tragedy. Tonight's episode, I'm excited about it because of the fact that I'm a sports junkie and I'm a Bills junkie, and on top of it, I'm a nerd. I'll admit it. I'm a bit of a nerd, a sports nerd. I grew up making tapes of the Buffalo Bills and making tapes of the Super Bowls and pretending I was a broadcaster and pretending that I was announcing the Super Bowl and announcing big games for the Bills. So this is my wheelhouse. In the same vein of being a sports nerd, schedule release is really a big deal for me now that I'm an adult. I explained to you guys before that when the schedule comes out, it literally plans my entire fall and winter. As a season ticket holder, I've got to make plans. I've got to know when the Bills are home. My son is born. My firstborn is born on the 13th, which always coincides with either the home opener or the season opener. So it's either going to be right around the 13th of September or right after. And one of the things about the schedule release this year was obviously the nugget that we got and the little caveat that we got right before the schedule release came out with the fact that the Bills were going to start off the season in the primetime event against the defending Super Bowl champions on that Thursday night game. Now, I'm really excited about it. I didn't need it. That game is as good enough to stand on its own later in the season. I listen to WGR all the time, and, I'll listen to Mike Chopin. He'll say on the afternoon show that, those games when they were trying to predict and different things like that, where the games are going to be and how many primetime games, he'll always say that game was too good to be right in the beginning of the year. And I was always nodding my head when I would hear that kind of rhetoric because of the fact that I felt the same way, that this game was good enough to be its own Sunday night game alone. Now, I just did an episode on Built in Buffalo, Not Your Average Podcast in the 716 with my girl T the other day, and that was a real fun conversation because she was right. They definitely did this on purpose, Buffalo Bills fans. So if I would, come with me on a walk down the 2022 Buffalo Bills schedule release, and let's look at it together. I'm going to give you my predictions on what I think for the Bills will do this year in respects to the record. I'm on the record now as saying 13-4 is what I think. 14-3 would be a little bit of a fantasy for me and would be just obviously euphoric. 13-4 is what I see. So we can break it down together. But T was right. That first game is against the Rams on purpose. That first game is not an accident. It's not a blip. It's not something that you're not seeing correctly on your screen when you look at the Buffalo Bills schedule. They are in the primetime feature as the Super Bowl favorites heading into 2022, going against the defending champs. Oh, and by the way, Von Miller is a Buffalo Bill. If you needed any more intrigue, if you needed anything added, a little more hot sauce, I call it wild sauce. If you need anything extra, you need a little bit more wild sauce on it, they've got it. Von Miller's now a Buffalo Bill. So they'll have storylines for days and weeks leading up to the season as we start the 2022 season with the Bills going against the Rams in L.A. Should be really great. I love that stadium. I love the way it looked on TV. Hope that the Bills' new stadium, the new home, the new palace that we'll have down the road will look something similar with the way that they kind of covered up the fans a little bit, but it's still outdoors a little bit. It was really cool. So I don't know what we're building, but this is not a Stadium Talk 1 episode, so we're all good on that. But listen, let's break down the schedule. Bring up your schedules when you get a chance. Bring up your ESPN app or whatever app, however you access your schedule, and let's go down. I'll give you my predictions, and I'll give you a little bit of what I think of the teams that we're going to be going up against. Starting out with that game, it's a fun game. I mean, there's no way around it. We are the primetime game. We start the season. It's going to be so much fun. Thursday night, NBC. And what I think about the Rams is that they're a great team. NFC, if you look at the conference, a lot of those teams in the NFC have taken some steps back. I'm not exactly sure that these guys can't be in a position where they're in the Super Bowl once again next year. Now, I'm sure Tampa Bay and Tom Brady will have something to say about that. I'm sure the Saints now feel like they'll have something to say about that. But there's not many teams, if you look around the NFC, that have legitimate Super Bowl aspirations, if you're being honest about it. If you're being honest and you look at the NFC, we always know what the NFC least, the NFC East, so on speak. That division is really, really, really bad. I mean, there's no way to even slice it. Really bad. Now, Dallas and Philly look like they have their stuff together a little bit where they might be able to battle. And Philly looks like an intriguing team with Jalen Hurts, and we'll see what he can do in the league. And we'll see what he can do after his playoff performance and his playoff berth for the Philadelphia Eagles last year. Obviously, they added Jordan Davis in the draft, so we'll see. Dallas is obviously going to be the favorite in that division. They've got all the glitz and glamour, so we know everything about Dallas. Washington trying to make a few additions. And obviously, the Giants and what they've done with Brian Dable and Joe Shane going to the Giants and leading up their operations will always be interesting to see, but I don't know how competitive that division is going to be. It looks like a two-horse race. And in the NFC North, obviously Green Bay is a class of that division. In the South, we already talked about Tom Brady. New Orleans beefing up. Atlanta and Carolina, I think, are lagging behind. And then in the West, it's crazy. The Rams look like the class. However, the Cardinals and all the Kyler Murray drama this offseason, San Francisco is consistently in position to go to a Super Bowl or be in it every single year, it seems like, for the last three or four. So, and obviously Seattle's looking to rebuild. So if you look at the NFC, there's definitely a legitimate case to be made that The Rams have every bit of reason to feel confident about representing the conference again in the Super Bowl. So it'll be a fun game. I marked it down as a loss, and the only reason I marked it down as a loss is because when these schedules come out, I always try to be a pessimist. What is the worst case scenario pretty much for me based on the team that I have? Now, that was a lot easier to do during the drought because the drought we had garbage teams, so it was easy to be pessimistic. I understand that it's not easy to be pessimistic about the Buffalo Bills right now. I love Brandon Beane. I love what he's built with this team. And it's really hard to be pessimistic about our chances. And it's also a new world that we're living in as Buffalo Bills fans, at least for ones in my age bracket. I'll be 37 in the summer. So I was 5, 6, 7, and 8 for the Super Bowl run. The majority of my life, minus the vague memories of those. I cried like a baby on 25, Scott Norwood. I cried again in 26. Cried again 27 when we get blown out. So, but the memories are vague. I didn't experience that as an adult. As an adult, I didn't get a chance to go tailgating. I didn't get a chance to go to the supermarket and know that my team is getting ready to go to the Super Bowl, one of the best teams in the league. I never got a chance to represent that. So this is new territory for Buffalo Bills fans in our age bracket. The highlight is literally breaking the drought. Think about that. For our generation, the highlight is breaking the drought. On a beautiful night down in Miami, and then Andy Dalton helps us out against the Ravens. That's the highlight as a Bills fan for me until last year. My new highlight is now perfection in the park against New England. And obviously I've got my own heartache now. Our generation has our Scott Norwood, which is 13 seconds. So it's funny how things come full circle all these years later. So you start the season against the Rams, I'll put it down as a loss. Bills go to 0-1 in my book. Next week, Monday Night Football. Doubleheader. We're the feature. This the first game, 7:15 at the Ralph against the Tennessee Titans. I'm chalking it up as a win, and I'll tell you for a few reasons. The Tennessee Titans have lost A.J. Brown. And I'm here to tell you the same way I'm going to tell you for next week with the addition of Tyreek Hill, and then in a few weeks with the subtraction of Tyreek Hill for the Chiefs. It matters that they lost him. It matters. Now, I'm sure Mike Vrabel is going to have a scheme set up. And I know Tannehill says he's not going to help Malik Willis, and he's focused on his job, and he's not trying to lose his job. So he's going to be ultra focused. He's embarrassed by the playoff performance against the Bengals last season. No problem. I'm not getting in their way at all. No problem. However, I don't fear them. I don't think that they're the same team that they were last year, and I thought that they won on a fluke anyway last year. Josh Allen slipped, and he went the wrong way. He went the wrong way, and he slipped. They needed both things to happen correctly for them to win that game. Otherwise, Josh just plunges in like he always does. So I've got that down as a win. The Bills' first win of the season at the Ralph, 1-1. We can go to 2-1 when we welcome and go down to Miami. Our second home, our retirement home is Miami, South Beach. Now, in that same vein, I understand Tyreek Hill is a Miami Dolphin now. The Cheetah is in the East now. I get it. Who's the quarterback? Who is throwing this man the football? Honestly. Tua Tagovailoa, listen, I understand he was accurate in college. I understand he's good on his short and intermediate routes. I understand that Jalen Waddle helps out with that because they run a lot of short stuff for this guy. I get it. And I understand that they can manufacture things, and we'll see what Mike McDaniel does in his audition. And he's a San Francisco disciple. He's going to want to run that football. And I also understand that has been a problem for the Buffalo Bills at certain points in times recently in the last few years. However, Sean McDermott's defense has been solid. It's been stout. The entire tenure, it's been stout. Now, can we ask for more from the pass rush? Could we ask for different things that we want to see from the run